Hey, it's Jordan. A big night for progressives, both in the Senate primaries in Pennsylvania, as well as congressional races in multiple states. This was much needed victories, particularly defeating some of the most egregious toxic money coming in from super PACs, including APAC and others. Let's first look at the Senate in Pennsylvania, where John Fetterman, who obviously recently had a stroke and has had some health problems, clobbered the hell out of Connor Lamb. He won 59% to Connor Lamb's 26.5%. Connor Lamb had every single advantage. Every establishment donor, every establishment politician supporting him. Basically, Fetterman skipped around the Pennsylvania machine. He did not kiss the ring of those factors and basically just toured the state and echoed his union roots, really pressed on his populist appeal, pressed on that he would actually vote for Build Back Better and other big structural changes rather than blocking it like Joe Manchin. It's been a little wish-washy, was for Medicare for all, but in a recent debate kind of backtracked a little bit on that. Not a fan of that. So he will definitely have to be held accountable on that if he actually supports Medicare for all. But he basically proved most of the political establishment in Pennsylvania and the Beltway wrong, that a guy in shorts that kind of looks like could be part of a biker gang or something would have mass appeal because, shocker, most Americans are actually voting on policy rather than, what MSNBC feeds them. And Fetterman had the normal guy appeal, but also was for the policies that people want. Want to know how I know? Look at this recent poll. Says it all. Let's take a look. In thinking about let me show you, in thinking about the Democratic candidates in your state and how they approach issues like healthcare, climate change, college affordability, and economic opportunity, which of the following comes closer to describing the candidate you prefer? Someone who proposes large-scale policies that cost more and might be harder to pass into law, but could bring major change on these issues. 63% favored large-scale policy changes, even if they cost more. The other option, someone who proposes smaller scale policies that cost less and might be easier to pass into law. 33%. 63% want big, bold change. 33% want incrementalism. And this has been going up and up and up. Look, 2019, up to 2020, up to 2022. It's increasingly gone up, most recently by 10 points compared to February 2020 for big, bold change. But wait a minute. I thought MSNBC, I thought CNN, I thought the New York Times, they told us, oh, no. People in the Rust Belt, they want pragmatic candidates. They don't want these leftist, bold, radical change. They want, little Brussels sprouts and broccolis, nothing too major, because they're more moderate. They're the swing voters. That has always been bullshit. Frankly, Biden did not win the presidency because he was offering pragmatic, incremental, not too far. He won because he wasn't Donald Trump. And we're seeing that now based on Biden's polls sinking faster than the Titanic. So Fetterman, we don't know who he's going to face. It's pretty close between Dr. Oz and the other guy. That hasn't been called. But I do believe he has a pretty good shot to turn that Senate seat in Pennsylvania to the Democratic side and hopefully the progressive side, because I do think Fetterman would vote a lot closer to Bernie Sanders than, let's say, Joe Manchin. Now moving on to another important race, Pennsylvania's 12th district, where it is razor thin. Summer Lee, the progressive challenger there, she is a state representative from Pennsylvania already. She, who, by the way, had an upset win to become a Pennsylvania state senator years ago. She was coming back all night, closing the gap. And she, at the end, overtook Steve Irwin, who, of course, the Democratic Party rallied behind, who is a union avoidance lawyer, meaning a lawyer to help corporations avoid unionization. Gotta love the Democratic Party's preferred candidates. Summer Lee is narrowly ahead, very narrowly ahead by a few hundred points. Hasn't been officially called yet, but based on the numbers, it looks like it will be called for Summer Lee. So it's a huge, huge victory for Summer Lee. And I want to challenge the narrative that this shows that progressives could defeat AIPAC and all these other super PACs that come in. AIPAC and other super PACs spent $3 million to take down Summer Lee. Yes, it looks like Summer Lee is victorious and has defeated that super PAC money. But let's be clear, Summer Lee was up by 25 to 30 points. This race wouldn't have even been close. Steve Irwin wouldn't have even come within Summer Lee if not for $3 million of attack ads on TV and mailers from these super PACs. So this could have been very, very different. And Summer Lee could have lost. And we'd be having a much different discussion. So people need to realize, although in this case, it looks like a progressive victory, the power of big money, they almost stole this from Summer Lee, who's a state senator, who is well known in the area of Pittsburgh and Allegheny County, and who ran a great campaign. They almost stole this election from her based on suffocating the airwaves with anti-Summer Lee ads, painting her as not sufficiently loyal to Joe Biden, as anti-Israel, and the rest of the usual hits that they used against Nina Turner and elsewhere. But as of now, it looks like Summer Lee has been victorious. She has tweeted out that she won. So, remains to be seen. It hasn't been called yet, but it does look like she will be victorious. And this is a tweet from Summer Lee. We could take a look here. Our victory shows that we could overcome the billionaire class that wants to divide and conquer us all with fear and lies for profits. If only we come together across our differences for a positive vision of multiracial democracy, we can have nice things if we fight. So that's Summer Lee. The media has framed her as the next AOC. I don't know about all that. What I do know is she is progressive. She is for Medicare for all. I can't promise you she's going to do more than we've seen from the squad, which is basically folding like cheap tents and basically going along with the Democratic Party and not fighting Biden on a $15 minimum wage, public option, him moonwalking away from $2,000 checks, everything that he's abandoned. But from everything I've heard and seen from Summer Lee, she seems to be a fighter. She was a union organizer. She's got a great story and background. So I think it's a good thing that she won this primary, and hopefully she'll be victorious in November. So we also have to go to Oregon, where Kurt Schroeder, who is a incumbent, Schrader, who's the incumbent in Oregon, got his clock cleaned. Kurt Schrader got his clock cleaned. His opponent, Jamie MacLeod Skinner, is defeating him. It looks 48-58, over 20 points. And really, Jamie MacLeod Skinner ran Kurt Schrader into the ground by pointing out he is a mass obstructionist. He was the deciding vote to block Medicare negotiating lower drug prices. He has been a thorn in Biden's side in terms of Build Back Better and other things. For a little bit more information on that, a super PAC funded by the pharmaceutical industry blew more than $1 million in an effort to salvage the career of former Blue Dog chair Kurt Schrader, the Oregon Democrat who cast the deciding vote against drug pricing reform in the House Energy and Commerce Committee and organized with Congressman Josh Gottheimer to derail President Biden's Build Back Better agenda. His opponent, Jamie MacLeod Skinner, lambasted him repeatedly as the Joe Manchin of the House. Because Oregon votes by mail and some ballots were blurred and unreadable in areas favorable to Schrader, results may not be known until early next week. But despite a funding disparity of some 10-1, the incumbent is on the ropes. Certainly is. It looks like he's going to lose. So I also want to be clear. Remember the poll I just showed you. I'll show you one more time, where voters clearly said they want big change. Not small change, 63%. We want large-scale policies, even if they cost more. And Schrader's opponent billed him as the Joe Manchin of the House. Well, people don't like Joe Manchin, contrary to the media spin that, Joe Manchin is just practical and he's a moderate and he's just doing what West Virginia wants, even though the people of West Virginia don't even agree with him. He's not doing what the people want. He's doing what benefits him, a coal baron who has made millions of dollars from his coal company. Polls show that the people of West Virginia supported most of the provisions of Build Back Better. And this poll shows that nationally, voters want big, bold change. So when Schrader, who opposed drug price reform, opposed Medicare negotiating lower drug prices, has opposed lowering drug prices, and amidst many other toxic policies that he has favored. Well, it was pretty easy for his opponent, who essentially is a organizer, an emergency response professional. She's been a union organizer, to basically paint him as the Joe Manchin of the House. I want to play her ad that she ran during her campaign, because I thought it was pretty damn good.
I'm Jamie MacLeod Skinner. What's the difference between me and Kurt Schrader? He takes millions in corporate PAC money. I won't take a dime. Oil and gas companies are bankrolling Kurt. I'm running for Congress to tackle climate change. Schrader is sold out to Big Pharma. I'm running for Congress to lower prescription drug prices. Big Pharma can't buy my vote. And I'll ban members of Congress from trading stocks, because they should be fighting for working people. I'm Jamie MacLeod Skinner, and I approve this message to represent you.
Oh, what an ad. And by the way, I don't even know if she's like super progressive. I don't think she's for Medicare for all. But imagine if Bernie Sanders would have ran ads like that. Imagine if Bernie Sanders would have ran ads listing Biden's donors, listing his union busting donors, and driving whatever that was, a forklift over it. It isn't rocket science, but Bernie didn't want to go there. She did. And basically, people don't like Joe Manchin. People don't like Kirsten Sinema. Frankly, people don't even like Biden. They want leaders who are not corrupt. They want leaders who are actually going to deliver real policy changes. And it's not hard to list their donors and then run over it with a forklift. Love it. So it looks like she's going to win. We'll see. But the underlying lesson here is not that any of these people are going to get elected and radically, immediately give us Medicare for all, free public college, a Green New Deal, this and that. Again, we cannot go on thinking any one set of politicians or any one set of victories is going to bring us to the promised land. I believe true systemic structural change is going to come outside of the electoral system. But what it does show is actually running progressive. Summer Lee, by the way, was a state senator, a current state senator. Nina Turner had been out of Cleveland politics for a long time. So that made a difference, that she was well known in Pittsburgh. Nina was well known in Cleveland, but she was not a current elected official, where Summer Lee had an upset just a few years ago, defeating an incumbent to get into the Pennsylvania State Senate. So Summer Lee's campaign was heavy on ground organizing. She was a name brand, and she was for the right policies that the people of Pittsburgh and the surrounding area desperately want. Same thing in Oregon. Schrader's opponent, she was correctly branding him as the Joe Manchin of the House, pointing out his corruption in ads and otherwise. And guess what? People don't like that corruption. And guess what? People do want lower health care and drugs. It ain't rocket science. Stop listening to the propaganda. Not that you're listening to it, but we got to stop listening to the propaganda from MSNBC, CNN, the New York Times, and the rest of them that continually feed the lie that voters want milk toast and broccoli. That's not what voters want. Not at all. Even Republican voters don't want that. They're just hoodwinked by the culture wars. So it is a pretty big victory for the progressive movement, I believe. I wouldn't say Fetterman is for everything we're for, but he's certainly a breath of fresh air in Pennsylvania compared to the retiring Pat Toomey and the rest of them. And I think that Summer Lee, will she go in there and raise hell? Will she leverage her vote? I don't know. I really don't. But I do think she has a great story. I do think she, at least in Pennsylvania, has been consistent. From things I've read, people I've spoken with, she's the real deal. So I think adding her to what we have in Congress already, maybe she'll light a fire under the squad. Who knows? So that's the deal, and we'll update you once these races are final. Thanks for watching, and make sure to tune in to Status Coup's daily live stream Monday through Thursday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time and Fridays at 4 o'clock Eastern Time.